After Elizabeth knocked out little girl Annie, Leping took her into the room so she could get some rest and recover from her past. Some moments later, little girl Annie woke up and asked Leping if he brought her back, seeking forgiveness for inconveniencing him. Leping replied, saying it's nothing like that, having Elizabeth's portal makes it easy. He asked if she is feeling better now. Little girl Annie got emotional, her eyes filled with tears. She explained that she remembered everything. There was no none at all, the murderer was him. Leping started to comfort her, saying she is wrong because everything she did was trying to protect his siblings. She is not a murderer. However, little girl Annie started crying, insisting Leping is wrong and it's all her fault. She blamed herself for running away after losing control. Leping explained that it's all the Dark Guild's fault. It wasn't her intention to lose control after awakening her bloodline, and asked her to stop blaming herself like that. But little girl Annie does not listen to Leping. She is still thinking that she is the one who killed her own siblings, and this fact will never change. After seeing little girl Annie, Leping got the doll and said to Annie that when she was making the dolls, all the details were good. But it's obvious that she was scared of the cotton slipping through, so she made a lot of knots. Even if it is secured, it will result in the doll losing its spirit as a whole. Leping asked little girl Annie to let him help her untie the knots and remake it. So, he dismantled every part of little girl Annie's doll to recreate them. However, after seeing this, little girl Annie started going out of control again, thinking that Leping is also harming his brother and sisters. After seeing little girl Annie, Leping started saying to her, Shakespeare once said, "Don't wander under the tree, don't ponder under the rain, and don't cry in the dark." After hearing Leping's words, in the next moment, little girl Annie found herself in an unknown place surrounded by water. Some moments later, when she came to her senses, she found herself in an unfamiliar place, wondering where she was. Suddenly, a really big hand emerged from the sky, saying to little girl Annie, "Look forward, don't look back. As long as you have the courage to face it and raise your head up, you will find the current haze to be but a very short rainy season." It was Leping, helping little girl Annie to control her power. He asked Annie to look forward, emphasizing that there is still a bright sky, which will give her determination. He used his hand to lift little girl Annie from the water, bringing both of them from darkness to light and giving her new hope. Sometime later, he created a new doll for Annie, saying, "This is the doll I remade for you. His name is Raphael." This is the angel doll, Raphael, that Leping created for little girl Annie. And you know, whatever Leping creates, that item is really overpowered. He hopes it can help her heal. So, he gives this doll to little girl Annie. After receiving the doll, little girl Annie became emotional, thinking, "This feeling, it can't be wrong. It's for my brothers and sisters." Suddenly, she started seeing her brothers and sisters playing with Leping. They told little girl Annie that they're all free and asked her not to worry about them anymore. She has to live well for them. After saying this, they started disappearing, saying goodbye to little girl Annie. After everything happened, little girl Annie started crying. She promised her brothers and sisters that she would definitely protect the church. Leping placed his hand on little girl Annie, saying, "After a rain, the sky clears up." After that, Leping felt relief, thinking he had learned about psychotherapy from books he got from the system before. But to be on the safe side, he still had to come back to check regularly. On the other side, in the demon realm, Death Swamp, Emilia came here after receiving orders from Elizabeth to find out about the Dark Guild. But after seeing Emilia say, she will never forgive them who turned her master's land into such a mess. This is the same place that Elizabeth ruled 500 years ago. Emilia jumped from the cliff and started heading to the castle so she could get some information about Dark Guild. Suddenly, smoke surrounded Emilia, and she started hearing a voice saying that new food has come to the door. Whoever kills her first will get to dismember her. They want her soul. When Emilia comes close to these voices, she sees many ugly monsters. They want to eat Emilia and devote her soul, but Emilia does not give a thought about them. She killed every monster without moving from her place. After seeing this, she is thinking that these guys are treating the master's land as a garbage dump. After witnessing Emilia's power, another monster starts getting scared of her. Suddenly, a purple boss monster appears. He asks Emilia who she is and if she dares to come to the Dark Guild to stir up trouble alone. This monster is from the Dark Guild, a 6-pillar demon named Kurthuzad, and he is a level 5-star demon ancestor. He threatens Emilia, stating that he is one of the 6-pillar demons, Kurthuzad, and asks her to come over. In the same moment in the Dark Guild hall room, they are creating thousands of monster clones. Another 6-pillar members are standing in front of a really large egg, talking with a man who is connected to the large egg. He asks the other 6-pillar members if a powerful one is coming to their door. One of the 6 pillars explains to him that Ghana's troops were completely wiped out when invading the Sword Saint Guild. Could it be that they have come to take revenge? He is a Dark Guild, 6-pillar demon, and he is a level 1-star demon sovereign. Another one says it's not a problem, explaining that the purple demon curfew's ad will greet them. She is another of the 6-pillar demons, and her name is Ruth Bader. She is a level 2-star demon ancestor. Experiment number 24 asks another 6-pillar that he wants to fight with Amelia, but William Elizabeth does not agree with him, saying he is not Amelia Machai. Dark Guild Vice President Dago Cthulhu says to everyone that, no matter who it is, even if it is the Sword Master himself, if he dares to come, he will never return. The man who is supporting the large egg is the Dark Guild President, and his name is Wise Malfoy. He was the prince of the Human King who swore his loyalty to Elizabeth at the beginning of the story. Though he is still alive, he tells everyone that, at first, he was worried about the missing materials. He didn't expect them to be delivered to his doorstep out of nowhere. On the other side, Amelia has already killed the purple demon, who is really confused, thinking, how is this possible? His abyss magic is all useless, and even his magic tools have no effect on Amelia. This isn't good, her power is endless. He thought it's best to use teleportation magic to go back to the hall and convey information to the rest. But before he uses his teleportation magic, Amelia uses her dragon's claw and crushes him with her hand. In the next moment, thousands of demons come toward Amelia. They are great apostles, thinking about how the purple demon was actually defeated by a mere child. But they are really happy, thinking there will be 2 vacant seats for a pillar demon. Another one says they had a difficult battle. She is definitely seriously injured after that and asks everyone to take this opportunity. She asks all the apostles to go, just overwhelm her with numbers and kill her. But Amelia does not give a thought about them. She just sees them as another pile of trash. She uses the Golden Dragon King Roar and kills all the demons in just one attack. After killing them, she goes to the castle to find out about the Dark Guild. But before she enters the castle, the door demon stops her, saying if she wishes to enter, she must answer his questions. The cost of answering wrong is her life. So, he starts asking her questions, but before he completes his words, Amelia kicks the demon door and breaks him into multiple pieces. After that, she enters the room. After seeing Wise Malfoy, she says to him that he has turned into something ugly. After hearing this, Malfoy starts laughing, saying 5,000 years have passed, and he became old now. He is really happy after meeting Amelia after such a long time. But before he completes his words, Amelia kills him with her power. His body explodes instantly. After seeing this, everyone gets really surprised, wondering what just happened. One of them asks if Amelia thinks her attack worked. After killing Wise Malfoy, Amelia thinks she's done and suggests calling it a day and going to Master Elizabeth. But suddenly, Malfoy's body starts healing. He is really happy, saying, as expected of Amelia, she's gotten even stronger. However, he is really curious and asks Amelia why she suddenly awakened from his deep slumber. He also asks if she perhaps found Master Elizabeth. Amelia gets really surprised, thinking about what just happened. How is he still alive? But before she says something, the 6-pillar vice president attacks Amelia with his taboo tentacles. He tells Amelia that as long as he defeats her, the demon Queen Elizabeth's mount, Golden Dragon King, the position of the Lord of Demons will be hers. Now that Amelia's magic power and the movement of her limbs are sealed inside the Dark Sea, no matter how strong she is, she can't escape his grasp. Amelia laughs and asks him, who wants to escape? What do you mean? Amelia starts eating his tentacles, but he tells her that it's a pointless struggle. However, Amelia doesn't give a thought about him and continues eating. But his tentacles are really large. He tells Amelia that she is a stupid girl and asks if she wants to eat him. Does she know how large his body is? She shouldn't overestimate herself. But he underestimated Amelia. Amelia starts eating his whole body, and the octopus demon gets really scared. He asks Malfoy to save him, but before they help, Amelia already finishes eating him. Since waking up, she hadn't eaten anything and thought that this would be enough to fill her stomach. Suddenly, one of the 6 pillars says to Amelia that she surrenders. She had to join them against her will. She comes close to Amelia and uses her seductive kiss on Amelia, thinking if attacking doesn't work, this will. She asks Amelia from now on, she is her prisoner. However, her seductive kiss doesn't work on Amelia. Amelia releases some of her power and sends her flying to the other side. She doesn't give a thought about her, she is still thinking about the octopus she ate before. Because the silly octopus still wants to multiply in her stomach, she says to the octopus that she will digest him in one go. Another 6 pillar gets really surprised, thinking not only did Amelia kill the vice president, but she also injured her father. She thinks that's interesting, so she uses her Demon King skill, Liberation. but Emilia sends her flying with just one punch. After killing the remaining 6 pillar, Emilia asks Wise if he is thinking of replacing Elizabeth by bringing this trash with him. He is not even qualified to be her opponent right now. Malfoy congratulates Lady Emilia for being promoted to Demon King. He is so envious. As a human, he doesn't have a long enough lifespan to break through. Emilia interrupts him, saying that's enough with the nonsense, and asks him if he is going to commit suicide or if he still thinks he can beat her. Wise Malfoy starts laughing, saying how could he, Wise Malfoy, dare to be her opponent. But suddenly, the egg behind Wise Malfoy starts revealing. She says if they add her, the matter would be different. After seeing Elizabeth's clone, Emilia gets really surprised, thinking about what he just did. She is really angry. Wise Malfoy starts laughing loudly, saying with the help of the Elizabeth clone, he will defeat Emilia. After 1 month later, Robot Dog licking his pee. Oh sorry, I mean Leping is working on his farm, digging a hole and sowing some fruit seeds. He gives them some water and in the next moment, a tree grows with many types of fruits. Leping harvests all the fruits from the tree and starts traveling back to his home with his robot dog. After coming back home, he starts preparing some firewood for cooking. However, Leping is not his usual self and Elizabeth also notices, thinking, what the hell is going on with him? In the night, Leping can't sleep because of this. He says that he has decided he will ask Elizabeth about the world. In the next morning, Leping apologizes to Elizabeth for bothering her so early. He makes today's breakfast and asks Elizabeth to please enjoy. Elizabeth asks Leping if he has anything to say, just say it. She hates beating around the bush. After hearing this, Leping explains that after this year of getting along with each other, Elizabeth should already know that he is no threat to her and that the hero and demon queen can coexist. So, he thinks it's time for Elizabeth to get out of here and take control of the world again. But Elizabeth is really confused, thinking about what Leping wants to say. Leping explains that he originally thought he could live peacefully by hiding here in the novice village. However, he didn't expect that what the system said about the encounter of the hero and the demon queen being inevitable would be true. He didn't go out, but Elizabeth came to his door. As a result, the novice village's barrier was damaged, and 500 years passed outside, resulting in the current chaos. Without Elizabeth ruling the world, some dark guild has appeared. And what happened to Uncle Boss and Annie is just a tiny part of the chaos of the outside world. After hearing this, Elizabeth is really confused and asks Leping why he cares if it's chaotic or not, as it doesn't affect them. But according to the system, if Leping and Elizabeth become enemies, the world becomes peaceful. However, if they both become friends, then the world is in chaos. Leping explains that he admits he was intertwined during this period because of the barrier's disappearance. Without Elizabeth, it would have been difficult for him to continue living like this. If he didn't know what was going on outside, he could certainly continue his life here without any problems. But after witnessing it, he can no longer stay out of it simply because he doesn't want to be a hero or doesn't want to save people from suffering. However, Elizabeth misunderstands everything, thinking Leping is just saying he can't live without her. Leping asks Elizabeth to please go and rule the world again. Although he is an incompetent hero, he can't continue to be selfish. But what can he do? If this place is wiped out by monsters, the worst he can do is just go to the city to work. After finishing his dinner, Elizabeth says to Leping if he wants her to solve the problems of the outside world. She smiles and says that it's just a small issue to her. After hearing this, Leping gets really happy and asks Elizabeth if she agrees, and he will also help her pack her things now. But Elizabeth replies that she is not interested in the outside world, but there are 2 ways to solve this. However, Elizabeth misunderstands, thinking that Leping is looking for an excuse to kick her out. Leping asks about the solutions and what they are. She explains that the first is the most direct one. She will go out and cast a world-destroying magic spell to completely solve the issue. She asks Leping if that will work, but Leping disagrees, saying that it definitely won't work. Then the second is to find a suitable person to rule the world, and Elizabeth can teach them from the shadows. After hearing this, Leping doesn't understand and asks what does she mean by a suitable person and who should it be. Elizabeth smiles after hearing Leping's words and says that he knows already. Aside from her, only he is qualified for this. Leping gets really shocked after hearing what Elizabeth just said and asks her if she really wants him to rule the world.